Okay. Howdy, folks. I'm fiddly fucking around with photos because I thought I'd find the one that I usually open up. I thought that would be the one that I usually open up next to the whole, Mona Lisa photo. But, I suppose you have to actually see my wife know her, see the videos to see the resemblance. Because for most people who do, the resemblance is pretty obvious. Yeah. There she is. Anyway. You don't know that song? That's my song, and it was written back in the 90s. So if anybody's copied it, they've copied it, and that's all they've done. The singing is my singing. The guitar playing is my guitar playing, etc., etc. So who else is here? Say hello. But, It's nice that it has that familiar sound to it. There is, of course, the wait. All right. Yeah, you know the little organ concerto thing. Yeah. Other than that, it's pretty hard to play. Yeah. But anyways, all the songs that I use on here, they're all my shit. That's stuff that I recorded back in like 2002, 2004, around that time. That's about it. I happen to have a bunch of old MP3s from that. So that's what I use on my channel here. And it's all been, you know, I mean, why even bother trying to record and go through the whole process and shit when I already have stuff that belongs to me, you know? So anyways, I was going to wait for some more people to join. But, you know, Monday night, everyone's got, you know, sleep to get. I didn't get any sleep last night. Didn't get much sleep today. Maybe I'll get sleep tonight. Still, really, that's kind of disappointing. Only a couple people in here. Anyways. So, Shaquille O'Neal has apparently come out and said that he believes the Earth is flat. Which is interesting, you know, because it is flat. And Shaq's even fucking taller than I am, so he can see it for himself. Went to Academy, saw his size 23 shoe in there. I wear a size 14. And that made my shoe look like my shoe makes normal people's shoe looks. Or look. Well, somebody says lots of people are going to hear about that. I would think that it would be something that would be quite talkable, but I find it very interesting that Shaq happens to be one of the people who, you know, one of the celebrities that are coming out as believing in the flat Earth, because Shaq just happens to live here in Baton Rouge, or at least he's from here in Baton Rouge. I forget which area, but he's from not far around here. I think he's from Baker, as a matter of fact, which is like fucking 15 minutes down the road from me. You think Shaq's a Freemason? That's possible, I suppose, but, you know, Freemasons aren't even a big deal anymore. I personally would feel more comfortable and secure that Western civilization would survive if the Freemasons were, in fact, a big deal still. But, you know, I gave them the password that I told them I would come back and give them, and I've heard no response. So that's on them, whether they remember it or not. Because, you know, after all, I lost an argument once to a man named Jacob. And that's it. So, I just find it hard to believe that just a couple people are tuning in to the Flat Earth stream live tonight. Especially since I've been doing these on schedule, you'd think more and more people would, you know, notice and pick up on it and come want to prod my brain and whatnot. But it always seems there's a couple people in here, and usually it's one person that isn't chatting. And I'm thinking the one bot that always comes in that doesn't chat, like it's always, you know, like if there's 10 people in here, there'll be 9 people chatting, and there'll be one person not chatting. And, you know, probably just a coincidence. But considering all the other shit that I've, you know, proven about all the glitches and shit that they do, they might have like a... Then, of course, when I talk about this, for some reason, people always wind up logging in. Wonder if anybody's going to type. If you're a real person, say hello in the comments. I'm just talking about how there's always seems to be a non-commenting bot. And then the views just stagnate. The live stream from yesterday just had 10 views drop off of it. For no fucking reason. That's weird. But anyways, I'm always just curious to, you know, I'm not trying to sound paranoid or anything. I'm just curious as to all the different inventive ways they've found to completely silence opposition and just keep people herded to fucking morons like Alec Jones and Tommy Lauren, you know? So yeah. That's funny. Shaq comes out for Flat Earth the day after me, the Baton Rouge Flat Earther, posts Toot on here, and, you know, don't tell anyone I told you. Toot happens to be Snoop Dogg's cousin. So, I don't know. Maybe, like, you know, more people fucking watch this shit than we know. I mean, I could list some interesting people that I know who I've told, here, this person use this joke, and they used the fucking joke. And that's a pretty long, interesting list of people. I know I have friends from the Pirelli World Challenge that watch the channel. Speaking of which, I designed 2 new race cars today that are pretty fucking cool. Like a Nostalgia NSX prototype car and a Nostalgia Integra front-wheel drive prototype car. Like Le Mans race car. Like fucking... they do IMSA now. It used to be ALMS. I don't know what happened with that. ALMS, IMSA. Fucking racing. Okay. Le Mans Series racing. But I'm going to put some photographs. If you check my Twitter, I forgot the Twitter, you can go and see, I posted the sketch, and I'm going to go ahead and see when I try to, speaking of little different hacking interference, okay, when I tried to post different things on Twitter, Depending on what I post. If it's innocuous, if I don't tag anyone, easy. Depending on who I tag, could be easy. Some of the same people that I tag all the time, I'll send the fucking tweet 3 different times, and it just goes sending tweet, over and over again. You know, I posted some screenshots of that shit on the other video. A Jedi Sentinel, huh? That's an interesting name. So, where are you from, Jedi Sentinel, and what do you drive? We're talking about Shaquille O'Neal, who happens to be from around here in Baton Rouge, deciding he's going to be flat Earth person now. England and no car. So you live in London then? Or what town is it that you live in other than London where you wouldn't need a car? I'm interested to know. Mm-hmm. You need a car. He lives in South Devon. So, he needs a car. I recommend an O2. Wait, maybe somebody could guess what I recommend. An 02 to 04 Honda CRV. Because it doesn't have an electronic throttle. And it's available in all-wheel drive. Yeah. So anyways, let's fiddly fuck around here, shall we? This is a photo that Joey took. A lot of people have managed to post a lot of different photos of the sun coming in from below the clouds. And right around that time, Joey just happened to happen across a good shot of that. And let's see, apparently this picture wants to go first. Yeah, that looks pretty flat to me. That looks pretty flat to me, honestly. Anybody got a ruler? You know, put it up to the TV. There's your chance. And I enjoy shots like this. This is one that a friend sent. I think it might have been Joey. One of the first things he sent to me, actually. You know, obviously, in New York. I've always loved looking out from skyscrapers. When I was a kid, my dad worked in a 40th and then a 48th story building. And I would go and visit him at work. And I remember standing and trying to just make sure I would like look at like, I've always had an engineering gift. Okay, I don't have any reason to be shy about this shit. I have an IQ in excess of 175. I broke 2 records in engineering when I took my IQ test. And the first time I got in a skyscraper after having been told, hey, you know, you broke 2 records. And they told me about how the scale stops at 165. And I actually asked the lady, her name was Dr. Leslie Fox. And I asked her, is Okay, she basically said, see, I need to backtrack for a second before I can get context to what I asked her. She said that anybody with an IQ above 175, basically their IQ is classified. Okay, and I've seen other evidence of this, but they say that they do give them estimates. Okay, and she told me that I would have to apply later on once I became grown up to find out what my IQ tested as, blah blah blah. And so I asked her, well, I'm over 165, right? Can I say it's 175? And she goes, oh, that's a conservative estimate. So since then, I've said that my IQ is excess of 175. Seems like a perfectly reasonable way to deduce things to me, but what would I know? I'm just the dumbass with the fucking IQ of 175. So anyways, I remember being right about this age and standing in my dad's office and trying to geometrically orient myself with the lines of the room. And I asked him, do they make these buildings elevated to where they look like they're facing the horizon? I couldn't figure out because I was standing 48 stories up, and when I looked out, the horizon was right there at fucking eye level. And I'm sitting there going through my head all the stuff that I learned at the NASA Center in Houston and all the stuff that I learned in science books. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, that's got to be in excess of 60 miles. So if I take my height, roughly 73 miles, but I'm sitting here looking out at about 115 miles. And it looks like if the atmosphere wasn't clouding everything, I could just see forever. It really looked flat. I've just always been fascinated by how, if the buildings are like this, and I'm 48 stories up, and I can see buildings right now in Houston, okay? In Houston, you can see buildings that are 20 miles apart. If I can see buildings that are 20 miles apart, well, they should be leaning away from each other by 2.3 feet. My eyes are good enough to see that kind of a lean. That would show up as about a quarter of a degree. I can see a quarter of a degree. But I've never seen buildings from any skyscraper I've ever been to. I've traveled a good bit. I just, the frame of references from my dad's work are the easiest. I've never seen two buildings that were just even slightly curved away from each other. I've never looked right in the middle of them and seen anything but parallel up and down. Never any indication of curvature. I started considering whether the earth was flat after the first time I went into my dad's office in Sydney, Australia, I think it was. I'd have been in downtown Wellington, New Zealand, but it was a pretty tall building, and I remember doing the same thing. But I didn't AutoCAD my brain. I'd already gotten into like late 80s AutoCAD stuff. So, by the time we were in Houston, I'd really put a lot of thought into orienting myself. But before that, living in New Zealand, and I'm really not sure whether or not I had visited my dad at work in Australia or New Zealand at this time, because I had done both around the same time period. But anyways, I wound up getting in a discussion with my grandfather a couple days later, maybe, um, while watching the Southern Stars and the Dark Rift. And he was telling me how that proves the Earth was round and everything. And I thought, okay, well, they could just be moving in a spiral on the outside, right? Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Over 3,000 subscribers, and yeah, where the fuck are they? It's funny, I have well over 1.5 million views. Where the fuck are those? Anyways, so at the point where we were moving back to the United States from New Zealand, I remember being on the plane and seeing a whole bunch of icebergs. I mean, a whole bunch of icebergs. And I asked my dad, that's a lot of icebergs, isn't it? Is that usually like that? What's with that? And that's this. He said, "No, that's the seasonal Antarctic iceberg flow." Well, it seemed to stay there for a while, and I'm sorry you're bored. Sorry, I'm bored too. That's why I'm doing a live stream. Wish I could be more entertaining, but all you got is my little eyewitness account that I'm about to give you from a plane in New Zealand. Yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry for making the world flat and everything. What you gonna do? But anyways, reading comments. Sorry. Um, so after about 20 minutes, I'm sitting there trying to map out because I had a full size atlas when I was a kid. Like I had a lot of books. I was a serious geek from a very young age. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, we're down here. The ice is supposed to be here. We're supposed to be flying this way. Okay. We're going to Los Angeles. Right? So, after about 20 minutes, I get my little Casio stopwatch. I had a little Casio calculator watch, and I set the stopwatch feature. And I set the timer. And there I'm sitting there watching it for about 2 hours. I'm still seeing ice. Okay? And I fell asleep. Woke up. 4 hours had gone by. And I could just see a couple little pieces of ice. I'm just glued up against the window. Just glued up against the window. And my mind was just boggled. Okay? But then we moved to Houston. And, Houston's the big NASA city. You're not given enough time to think about the Earth being flat when you live in Houston. So, anyways, that was my first my first experience thinking about whether or not the Earth was flat. And I really didn't give it much thought until 2011, when the whole awakening thing happened. And if you want to see the video about that was live streamed yesterday, and that includes the moment where I figured out that I was able to summon lightning a little too close for comfort, at least, as far as my wife is concerned. She was the one filming me at the time. And, the whole exorcism of Satan and the Whore of Babylon thing, no big deal. I woke up, and I don't mean woke up in that sense. I mean, I woke up. I was asleep. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that much on this video. But suffice to say, I knew the earth was flat because I remembered it was flat. And I kind of giggled at that for a while. And then I decided, I got enough shit to worry about right now, so I didn't think about it again for another 3 months. And then I started doing little YouTube video research, on the Zetetic website, that kind of thing. And that was all back in 2012. And, got focused on countering Russian expansionism since then, which very much relates to one of the points that a commenter just made, that flat earth researchers seem to support one guy but not another. Okay. That's because flat earth shillery is another one of these things that's been funded by the Kremlin. And that's something that I've been tracking and proving on this channel for quite some time. And generally speaking, every successful flat earther, I can't believe I really used that word, but every big time or whatever flat earther that you know about, that gets invited back on them little talk shows again and again, those people are all either Russian, completely pretending to be American, or they're Canadian and pretending to be American. There are, I suppose, a few actual American ones here and there, but I've confirmed that many of these people are just fucking Canadians pretending to be where they say they're from. Okay? Like, Patricia Steer, for instance, not from New Orleans. There's no way somebody I know wouldn't know who the fuck that was. Not me, my sister, seriously. But there ain't nobody down there in that age group, in that crowd of people. No. And she couldn't answer fundamental questions that any New Orleans person would know. But I got to go ahead and one day get all the screenshots from those fucking email conversations again. And I just kept asking these people, why, if you're not a bunch of Russian paid shills working with the RT network and using all the, benefits that come along with it, why is the one common theme among all flat earth channels, among all these different really popular channels, a general sense of anti-Americanism? No fucking mention ever of Russia. No fucking mention or credit or anything of the European Space Administration. And no credence to the fact that NASA, relative to these agencies, has been on the fucking back burner since the Flat Earth movement got popular. Yeah, I mean, these people like fucking math. I did a research project with Math Powerland. Okay. I really tried hard to get on his good side, to really figure him out. I've had phone conversations, text messages with him, and I just finally told him to fuck off because I've just had enough of his shit. These people are all, they have one agenda in mind. And get back to answering your question, about the issue. It's divide and conquer. Okay? The reason why I created this channel, to reach out to those of you with open enough minds to see shit like this, is the same reason why they created all those fucking channels right when... There was a few really popular Flat Earth channels, but I'm sitting there on Facebook and in my Support Ukraine group and all these different places that I know Russians were fucking watching me. And I told them I was about to make my YouTube channel. And I made it, and it didn't actually go live for like a month and a half. And during that period where I was waiting for my YouTube channel to actually like become live and shit, Jeranism, Patricia Steer, all these different fucking channels just all suddenly popped up out of the fucking woodwork, man. Okay? And I really wouldn't be the kind of moron to be all, it was all about me, if it didn't really fucking creepily, eerily seem like it was. Because what I was trying to do was get your attention to the Horde. Okay? The land of the north, the whore of Babylon, the nation of many waters. This is the time, children. And I come to warn, and they keep silence. And while I rely on people to be able to see and perceive things and choose based upon scriptural knowledge and what is woven in the hearts of every man and woman to be able to discern whether or not I'm trying to save you or whether or not they're trying to bullshit you, they have tools that enable them to keep shit from fucking even being viewed, man. They take off my views. They take off your likes. If you like this video, you better go back and check later to see if it's still fucking liked. Because subscriptions got dropped. I used to actually have about 3,500 subscribers. Just kept dropping. And you know, I suppose that there might have been some people who were stupid enough to accidentally subscribe my channel, not realizing what they were getting into, who wound up, you know, being Trump supporters. Yeah, I make fun of them. They don't actually do this, but they should. Okay. Flat Earth perspective. Yeah, Flat does make a lot of conspiracy-based ones seem a lot more simple, and it certainly gives a lot more finite understanding to the spiritual aspects of them. But one thing that has gone completely unnoticed, again, is the whole point of this channel. You have a thing called the Horde. If you're not familiar with the Horde, let me get rid of the rainbow-powered spaceship right quick. And I'll show you the Horde. And if you like to familiarize yourself with many different conspiracies, the more different conspiracies, the more information that you have, the easier it will be for you to figure out what I'm trying to tell you. Because essentially, most flat earth channels helped Donald Trump get elected. They helped take down Hillary Clinton. And there's been this interesting anti-Zionist thread in there, which, you know, of course, is kind of a cover for the whole what they really are, which is actually what I've warned about for thousands of years. Those who say they are Jews and are not. Okay? And I've been warning about shit like this on this channel for quite some time. Feel free to go and scroll my channel to, choose your topic and see what you want to find out on. I am not the owner of a fancy graphics studio. I just got this little program a couple weeks ago. But what I do is I provide a lot of leads based upon my memories. And what I remember is basically warning you little humans about the same things over and over again for a very long time. And if you're not familiar with the Khazarian conspiracy, Khazaria is essentially the kingdom settled by the Babylonian exiled Jews who went there and decided that they liked polygamy and, whoredom and all that good shit. It's basically Sodom and Gomorrah, and then some. And what Khazaria used to be, even back in the times of Alexander, was the place that you would rent troops from. See, there was just a very mafia-like, very brutal structure to the kingdom there. And they would form their kingdom to whatever suited the needs of the kingdom. And, well, eventually that kingdom supposedly converted to Judaism. And some convoluted truth comes in there when you get told that either they are Jews or they aren't Jews. Well, they can be not Jews and still have Jewish blood, because what they do is they kidnap people, lots and lots of people. They enslave people, they murder people, they rape people. That's why they call them the Horde. Now, you've heard a lot in recent years about the Golden Dawn white supremacist uprising that's connected back through Russia. Well, that Golden Dawn relates back to this thing called the Golden Horde. And there it is right there in the same exact place. Isn't that interesting? And also covering what is now called Kazakhstan. Oh, but, Vladimir Putin's going to save you from the Muslim horde, right? And that's why Donald Trump's great, because him and Vladimir Putin are going to, they're the big Muslim resisting people in the world, right? Right? Isn't that how that goes? Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump gonna save you from the terrorists. Yeah. I find that fascinating. And here's why. Let's see if I can get this in here right quick without taking too damn long. See, if Putin was going to save us from the terrorists, and he was going to protect the white man and all that good stuff, why'd he build that right after a big terrorist attack in his country? That's from, when was that from? I believe that's from 2014. It's funny. That Golden Horde border. They just like it up there. That's Upper Meso-Persia. Chagatai Khanate. The Golden Horde with their golden showers and their golden Trump. Oh, yeah. He's a real winner chicken dinner. Now, see, what Obama meant when he said that we were a nation of refugees is that the reason why people were trying to fucking find new land is because of the Horde. This ever-expanding fucking horde. Look at that. That's to 1405 right there. Okay. Stuff flat earthers don't want you to know. Okay. Why does that bear relevance now? What's the connection? Well, I've proven on many different videos that Russia is behind 9/11, Pearl Harbor, you fucking name it. This is the land of Cain, little boys. There's a reason why they call the capital Moscow. But, you know, you just don't want to know, do you? There's a reason why all the Kabbalism always comes from there, you know? And there's a reason why we had to fake a moon landing to win the space race. You know why? Because they had better rockets. Hands down, they had better rockets all along. They always have had better rockets. Period. We recently acquired the ability to make better military type rockets by perfecting the by perfecting the solid state fuel booster. But you know, as far as space goes, Russia has always been superior as far as what is overtly known as the technology required to get there. Okay? And again, that is something that the flat earthers were in an organized concert to keep people from knowing. Okay? This is the place where basically Satanism itself comes from. This is where Satan fucking lived. Alright? The land of Nod. I mean, it's up. It's right back there in the fucking middle. Oh, I'm not in Arcadia, so I gotta point the right way. Not the opposite way. Okay, sorry. Whenever no, wait. I'm not gonna tell you about that because if a warlock saw me fucking say that, then they would know how to defend themselves, and I don't want that. Moving on. Alright, so let me get out of this fucking thing and see what the hell y'all are talking about. Yes, they have you very much focused on stupid, trivial bullshit. They've basically got the flat earthers in the West to turn against our own civilization for a bunch of conspiracies that they've adopted to flat earth that have been fucking the whole conspiracy mantra fucking talking points memo ever since goddamn X-Files. Did you know that the guy who played Mulder from X-Files was from fucking St. Petersburg, Russia? Mulder! He's Russian! Think about that for a second. Take it easy, man. Go and check out that video from yesterday because the reason why the world's flat is kind of contained within that video. What else are you still sleeping about? That's what I'm here for, man. Desperately trying to wake up my own children before a fucking bus hits the house. Okay? That's my motivation. But, you know, to each their own. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I've been using that a lot lately. See, I've been the one informing the FBI that the Trump campaign was in collusion with Russia since the get-go. I also informed the FBI that the Republican Party has been in collusion with Russia for over a decade now. Fact of the matter is, the only reason why we didn't suspect that the Lewinsky scandal was just a KGB fucking trick was because we were told the Cold War ended. And again, I've said it on multiple videos. Putin was a Cheka. Putin was in Germany responsible for resurrecting neo-Nazi groups. Okay? He is a master of such fuckery. So when such fuckery starts taking over things, and then he winds up gaining all the power from it, you need to trace back and see how far back that fuckery was his fuckery. Couple older guys out here turning on their own general community figures. They tripping. What are you talking about? The horde boringly painful and unintelligent? Feel like puking via the ward. Horde alone, pack of dogs. Huh. Jimmy. The fuck are you talking about, man? You talking about like some provocateurs, just like some obnoxious loudmouth morons or something? That's what it sounds like. You know, my next little page here I had. Yeah. Apparently I speak his booga booga language. I got it right. We had some provocateur morons. So anyways, this was my little half-ass map. I don't think this is my completed version. But I think I will do a actual flat earth presentation. The Rockefellers, the Freemasons, the Illuminati are nothing. Okay? You understand that? Nothing. 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 It's a fucking fantasy. Okay? We have literally, actually confirmed with absolute certainty that these ideas were fabricated by the KGB to make you turn away from your own governments, to make you think that corporations are evil. Okay? Now, I'm not saying all corporations are good. Not a big fan of fucking corrupt. I'm a Democrat. What the fuck are you gonna do? But, dude, there's corporations and there's oligarchs. All right? There's democracy with problems, and there's fascism. Okay? There is, like, different little shady things that you could be pointed out of context about. Or there's the bigger picture that you might actually fucking really have a hope of understanding the world and being able to do something better to change it, instead of just being led around by your nose and your paranoid impulses. Okay? The third is, most supposed fake deaths are actually assassinations on the part of the KGB. Alright? Most supposed false flags were actually attacks by Russia. They were false flags, all right. But that's what a false flag is. That's when somebody attacks you and somebody else gets blamed for it. But see, you've been hurted so fucking hard. This whole fucking conspiracy community has been hurted so fucking astray that you think a false flag is an attack that didn't. No, that would be an empty flagpole. A false flag, they had it right under your fucking noses, and they were taunting you while keeping you from the truth. They're the ones who've been attacking us. They're the ones who've been turning us against each other. Guess what? We can sit here and bitch about the fucking Illuminati and the Rockefellers all we want, while they surround us and fucking destroy us. It's gotten to the point where it's just an irritation to me to hear people even talk about George Soros and the Rockefellers and fucking people like that. Even the Bush family at this point realizes that they were duped. You understand that? Even the Bush family realizes that they have been duped by Russia. Okay? And people have been having complete political mindsets programmed into them by this propaganda campaign that started in the late 90s, not only with just RT and the actual implementation of the Russian propaganda network, but at that point they had over 2,000, in 1998, they had over 2,000 Russian trolls in AOL and Yahoo chat rooms trying to mold public opinion. And where they focused, get this, where they focused for most effect was talking to our reporters and our Congress people. Imagine that. They were talking to our reporters, our TV people, and our Congress people, our representatives, more than we were. Okay? That's how America lost its fucking way. And since then, it's gotten worse and worse, divide and conquer, from the left on the Bernie crowd and from the right on the Trumpist fucking people. And all the while we had a choice right down the center. But, you know, 60 women knew how to fucking use email, so we all went crazy. This whole thing is ridiculous. So, magnetic north. Isn't that special? Eratosthenes angles. That's probably the easiest thing in all of fucking flat earth theory to debunk. I was just copying over some preview images from the big presentation that I could probably make at any time. So, what this map is based on is just a cutout that I kind of morphed as best I could with MS Paint. And I have another version of it that I've taken a little more time on that I'm going to show on the Flat Earth Slam Dunk broadcast that I do tomorrow. And what's interesting about this, and what's depicted more accurately on the other map that I have, is what happens when you're in South America. When you're in South America and you use a compass, north is always northeast. Okay? The further west you go, the more east it is. Okay? And that's because the compass relies on magnetic north. And magnetic north is in fucking Russia. And, you know, it happens to be right where they build all them fucking tanks. So I wonder if that giant thing, whatever it is that causes magnetic north, is where they get all the metal for all their fucking tanks. Because, I mean, they literally had 20,000 tanks at the end of World War II. 20,000 tanks. That's a lot of tanks. Anyways. So, feel free to ask any questions. I know making blank statements like I do about basically all the deception being on the part of Russia, you know, that can be a lot to take. But I've been at this 4 years now. I've been at it 4 years now, and all the while I've been not prophesying, but announcing what's gonna happen. Okay? And what's been happening, like today with the Comey thing, this is based upon what I've been telling you needs to happen. Okay? In its present form, Earth is mostly circle. It's becoming a little bit of like a nippled tennis racket thing because the Russians have a colony on the rim. The Russians straight up, if you look, let me go ahead and pull out the map. I'm going to pull out the map. If you look on the far side of the Pacific Ocean, you will find one little island that the Russians own. And if you kind of pull up a general average deployment of their icebreakers and fleets, I'm not going to tell you where I saw that, but basically they have an inordinate amount of shit up this way. Okay? And I showed in one of my sketchbook videos how easily it would be to set up a colony beyond the edge. Let me just see if I can find a copy of that right click. I think I have photos of shit like that in here somewhere. No, come on. It's going to be the one I don't have a photo of. Yep. Damn. Okay, so basically, it's about metaphorical reality. And here's what that means. Essentially, perception dictates reality at this point in reality. Before 2011, not so much. The creator dictated reality. Post 2011, we have what's called a democratic agreement system. Okay, that is, reality itself is basically up to a vote. And in a localized field, depending on the mutual understanding of all the inhabitants involved, reality is dictated by their agreement on what the expectation of reality should be. So whatever that expectation is what the molecules, atoms, energy, whatever it is around them forms to, reacts to the intent of their perception, and becomes real. So then when you, for instance, go by yourself, if you were to go by yourself to the edge and somehow found a vehicle that could survive borderline absolute zero temperatures. Okay, so you'd obviously need your own heat source, right? You get to the point where all molecular motion stops, where reality stops, okay? Where the sun's light can no longer make it There is no heat. Therefore, there is no molecular motion. Therefore, there is no reality. Okay? But if you push beyond that point, then there becomes more reality. And while most of us have been programmed to accept things on a scientific level, and the reality would just unfold just like you were fucking walking and you'd never really know that you had even gotten to an edge. Okay? Someone who is either ascended or, as myself, a reincarnated wizard with full knowledge of his past lives, shit could get pretty fun. Anyways. Alright, so no, Hillary Clinton's winning timeline would have been a fast forward to the completion of my plan for everyone, which basically includes world peace and eternal life. You know, but I guess some people have better shit to do. So, you know. So, next question. Excuse me right quick. Okay. Sorry about that. Anyways, let me get back to the old metal screen here. Apparently, the trial version of this software lets me get 4 little scenes that I can switch back and forth. And it's, you know, pretty useful. I like it. It's been working for me. I think it's improved my video quality. So, by far, I mean, if there was anything that has been completely under-discussed, completely glossed over by the entire Flat Earth community, it's Russia, man. And I mean, if take a moment to realize that the perspective of actual danger that you're in, okay? Bear with me. I'm gonna show you 2 different groups of things. Okay. So I have to edit this fucking thing. Great. Alright, 50%. Save. So this guy is Putin's pal. That is Mr. Kadyrov. And I've said it over and over again that he basically fought a pretend rebellion with the Russian government just kind of as a Satanist taunt, okay? Just to prove and to do an exercise and collect data on the theory, the hypothesis or whatever that they confirmed was the West wouldn't even have a fucking clue what had happened. Okay, not a clue, as in it would happen so far away from anything that we knew about that, you know, Since in 2011, for reasons why people just don't understand unless they watch that video that I just posted yesterday, stream from yesterday, the only way to understand why the world is flat right now, okay, and why in 2011 governments all over the world started freaking out because there was no more space and their satellites were gone. But, you know, at least there were no more fucking aliens and UFOs and a giant fucking snaky-headed bitch Leviathan about to destroy the earth with her tail. You know, there's always the positive things. Like, for instance, I'm out of cigarettes, but I have a cigar, so I'm going to smoke a cigar. And it's kind of tasty, actually. Always look on the bright side of life. Yeah, how about that? So, let's see here. What's interesting about these guys, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, these are all both Russians and Islamic State. That whole crowd of guys right there, that is the professional group of Islamic State fighters that handed the Iraqi army its ass. That's why the Iraqi army turned tail and ran. They weren't just so afraid of the local legend of the Islamic State fight. No, they were afraid of fucking trained, hardened Russian troops that had all sworn allegiance to the death to Vladimir Putin. Okay? And that's on that video right there, by the way. Notice how I'm not hiding where I get these photos from. This is, you know, from the same video. That's them lining up. And there's this, you know, Kadyrov was walking by this crowd. That's they're looking at him as he's passing. See, they got the little crowd of guys kind of walking. He's like walking this way, and they're all lined up with their RPGs and shit like that. And then, about 2 weeks later, this happened. I gotta resize it because I'm in my Flat Earth folder. This is all part of that big story, so I'm just kind of do a live rehearse. Then this happened. Now see those guys right there? They look familiar? So I got photos from 15 different raids. Hundreds of different photos of guys that look just like that. Guys that look just like those guys in that crowd back there. Guys that look just like those guys with those RPGs right there. RPGs that look just like those RPGs. They must have got them at Walmart. And of course, while all the Flat Earth shillery has been making you focus on Washington, D.C. and how the roads might accidentally make a pyramid, check this shit out, man. I'm going to go ahead and, so I don't have to, I'm going to make this a fucking slideshow. Maybe that'll make it to where I don't have to resize every damn one of these things. Alright, give me 1 second. Or, you know, a few seconds. Several seconds. In a row, preferably. You know, I don't need like a couple now, a couple tomorrow. So let's see here. Let's see here. Alright, whatever. Going to try to do an easier way. But that wound up looking like a harder way. So it's coming oh so soon. But I try to find a way to get away from here. I know why can't I get back, get back, get back, get back? I know you coming through, you're trying. Oh, you're trying to get me, you're trying too hard. I'm going, baby, I'm going too far. I want something better than this, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. I guess that'll do. Alright. So, I'm sure having researched general conspiracy stuff, you might be familiar with the overhead view of Washington, D.C. Well, this is the city of Astana, and it is in Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is where the real space program is. Kazakhstan is where all the Soyuz capsules get launched from for the International Space Station. And this particular area of Kazakhstan, let me see if I can find it on a map. It's called Kazan. And what's interesting about Kazan, even though it's not marked on this map, it is basically dead center and a little to the right. Okay, but it's deep in this area right here, this Golden Horde area, is where the center of the Russian military power base is, and the center of the Russian space program, the center of Russian economic power, industrial power, and that is Golden Horde land. That's where, coincidentally, the Bolsheviks and the White Russians came from. As if they were just deployed for a reason, to suit an end for someone else's means. Anyways, so you look at Washington, D.C., you see a pentagram. You look overhead on this city, you see Olmec. It's fucking Olmec, isn't it? Not only is it Olmec, but it's got Gabriel for a mouth, little white, red and blue orb. That's on the video from 2011 too, yesterday, by the way. Got 4 eyes put together like a spider's eyes. Got sort of a Dogen-esque totem hat on his head. And of course, the pyramid cock, a phallic symbol, right where the penis is supposed to be. And that is where they have their little meetings. That's the obelisk that's up on their head. Funny, that should be where the cock is. That one looks more like a cock, but you know. Note the little spiderweb imagery. So way down there, that's where the pyramid phallus is. Up here, that's where that last image was. Obviously, that's the head right there. There's another view. Yeah, if there was going to be a one world capital, this would be the one that's on the surface. The actual world capital, according to the Mongolian horde, is the underground mountain city of Ulaanbaatar. Look up Ulaanbaatar. You can see it's actually been growing quite a bit on the surface even. Ulaanbaatar is where Nelson Rockefeller and Nikita Khrushchev met right before, Kennedy was assassinated, and then Nikita Khrushchev deposed, and that's where Medvedev and Putin met before Medvedev was told Putin's going to be president again. But I just like this because it's an overt, obvious debunk to the idea that Washington, D.C. is somehow this one world capital, that the New World Order is because of Washington, D.C. The only New World Order that we were trying to establish in this country was an order of international trade and criminal courts. We wanted a New World Order of peace. We wanted to be able to fucking do business across. I mean, globalism with regulation, with responsibility, with laws, with courts, like at the World Trade Center, for instance. Okay? That kind of globalism would have been a benefit for everybody, especially the poor countries in the world. But there's another type of globalism, and that's conquest. That's the expansionism of Nod. And if you look at what these people have been told for the past few years, they've been told that it's going to happen. They're going to be the ones to make it happen. And they need to save the world from us evil Americans. Hey, what's up? You know a guy who went to Ulaanbaatar or Kazan just over a year ago? Kazakhstan. Yeah, I actually, I wonder how empty the surface cities feel, because I very much sense that that the underground cave city network basically stretches from this area all the way to Ulaanbaatar, and then even from there up to the northern coast of Siberia and Krasnoyarsk and all that good stuff. So when Lord Stephen Christ says he's got the Hollow Earth info, that's because he's part of the fucking horde. Well, there's Kazakhstan and there's Kyrgyzstan. Those are different places, actually. I mean, not that different, but they're different spots on the map, at least. But, Kazakhstan is now what you find, like we were saying, right here. And coincidentally, after that, became the Golden Horde. So you see the expansion, 1237 to 1502. So we're talking about this time period in which the Spanish Reconquista and the founding of the fucking colonies, or the founding of the discovery of the Americas, and people just wanting to flee Europe. Well, why? It wasn't just the Muslims. Islam is a manufactured Kabbalic religion. Okay, and remember that Kabbalism comes from Khazaria. Kabbalism means cube. Okay? Kaaba. The big black fucking board cube, all will be assimilated. Resistance is futile. Thank you, muses. See that country called Dagestan? Well, there was a painting I did a long time ago. Had a very peculiar image in it. A guy named Peter holding a dagger. And that mystery lives there. And all of that, interestingly enough, has played out in identical fashion this time around. We got betrayed in Dagestan. Fooled by our pride, when it was those who we gained pride in defeat of that ultimately led us to our betrayal. Alright, so anybody else got any more questions? I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up for the night. So appreciate y'all joining me. Tomorrow, I'm not sure how much of this collection I can actually get on here, because resizing them is kind of a pain in the ass. I can't open up anything. Limits the fucking pictures I can put on here. So I don't know if I'll be able to make this whole flat earth presentation tomorrow, but I'm going to try. But if not, we're going to do some sort of live flat earth live stream tomorrow, and I'm going to share my new maps, and I'm going to share my out of the park fucking home run, slam dunk, touchdown, three-pointer, solar and lunar eclipse explanation with the reduced speed of light that you get when you realize that the Earth is flat. So, hope you heard what the fuck I just said just now. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like and subscribe. Peace.
Oh, you know I want you there. I want to be right there with you.